Retro.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a different type of episode of the Animaniacs. It's certainly an episode that we didn't think we'd have to really do anytime soon. In case you didn't know, Chick Vennera, who of course provided the voice of Pesto and the Godpigeon on Animaniacs, passed away a few days ago. And it really it took us by surprise. It was not something that we were aware of, that he was ill or anything like that. But it's a sad day in the Animaniacs fandom. And there's been a lot of things written about Chick in the past few days. The Hollywood Reporter had a nice report on him, so I thought I'd read that real quick. So this is the report here from the Hollywood Reporter by Mike Barnes. Chick Vennera, actor in Thank God It's Friday and the Milagro Beanfield War, dies at 74. Chick Vennera, who portrayed a bean farmer for Robert Redford in the Milagro Beanfield War and danced atop parked cars outside an LA discotheque while wearing leather from head to toe in Thank God It's Friday, has died. He was 74. Vennera died Wednesday at his home in Burbank after a battle with lung cancer, his daughter Nikki Vennera told the Hollywood Reporter. Vennera was a busy voice actor who worked on such animated shows as Animaniacs, where he voiced the characters for Pesto and the Godpigeon, Foover, Capital Critters, Darkwing Duck, The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, Cow and Chicken, and Batman Beyond. Famed casting director Marion Doherty had seen Vennera perform in an off-Broadway production of Jockeys in 1977. He won a Theater World Award for his performance, and that led him to being hired to play Sergeant Danny Ruffalo opposite Richard Gere in World War II set Yanks. In his most notable war, he played the happy-go-lucky Marv Leatherman Gomez in Thank God It's Friday in 1978. Side note, if you guys have not seen Chick in this scene from Thank God It's Friday dancing on top of the cars, it's available on YouTube. I highly recommend it. It's very entertaining and very impressive. Outside the fictional zoo, Disco in L.A., Gomez tells John Friedrich's uptight character,
"Hey, man, let me tell you something. You ain't gonna be happy until you're free. And the only way you're going to be free is to get loose. And the only way you're going to get loose is to dance. Now, come on, let me see some of your moves."
And then he shows off his moves, prancing on car hoods and atop of a phone booth in a memorable sequence. Later, he set the plot in motion as the bean farmer John Mondragon in the Milagro Beanfield War in 1988. Born on March 27, 1947, in Herkimer, New York, Francis Vennera came west to study acting at the Pasadena Playhouse. After serving in the U.S. Army, he spent 2 years with Disney on parade as a dancer, acrobat, and clown on a North American tour and appeared on Broadway in Greece. In 1975, he appeared on TV for the first time, showing up on episodes of Lucas Tanner and Beretta. Vennera played consumer reporter Enrique Mas, the boss of Betty White's Rose, on 2 installments of Golden Girls in 1989, and could be seen on Vegas, T.J. Hooker, Night Court, and Mad About You, amongst other shows. More recently, he taught acting at the Beverly Hills Playhouse, where he had studied under Milton Casellas years earlier, and at his own place, the Renegade Theater and Film Group, from 2009 until the onset of the pandemic last year. Survivors also include his wife of 40 years, Suzanne, and his son-in-law, Jason. So, there's been a lot of folks online expressing their sadness and their reactions to it. Many fans, first of all, when we initially posted about all this, just saying their condolences toward the family and how sad that they felt. And people just kind of talking about, of course, how Pesto and the Godpigeon were 2 of their favorite Goodfeather characters and things like that. So there were some other words here. Tom Ruger said, terribly sad. Chick was a great talent and wonderful guy. Much love to wife Suzanne and his family. Rob Paulson said, very sad. Chick was a terrific talent and wonderful teacher. I'm grateful for his friendship. Amblin Entertainment even put out a little tweet saying, we're saddened to learn that Chick Vennera, who gave vocal wing to Pesto of the Goodfeathers, amongst other characters in the original run of Animaniacs, has passed away at 74. Our condolences to Chick's loved ones, friends, and fellow collaborators. And finally, John Mariano, who of course voiced Bobby the Goodfeather, said, it is with deep sadness to inform that Chick Vennera has passed. We worked together on Steven Spielberg's Animaniacs. We were the Goodfeathers. An amazing talent, but more so an amazing person. Gentle rest grant unto thee. So we were lucky enough to have Chick and John Mariano and Maurice LaMarche all on together. What ended up being really their last recording here on the Animaniacast. This was something that when I initially was just kind of getting it together, I thought it was just going to be something on Skype. And so I started reaching out to John Mariano, reached out to Maurice LaMarche, and then found contact information for Chick and sent an email to him. The funny thing is I told him like in an email saying, oh yeah, this is how we usually record. We usually record by Skype, but we might do it a different way here or there. And Chick responded, it would be really nice if we could all be together in front of the mic with you. We haven't seen each other in years. It would be really cool to see the guys again and reminisce. I, of course, do not live in Los Angeles. I live in Arizona. I live 8 hours away from there. But the opportunity to get the three of them together in front of the mic, I knew would be priceless. So it was frantic, but I think we got it, I want to say within the next week or something like that. I just kind of threw everything together, got my new mixer, bunch of new microphones, put them all in my car, and drove all the way to Los Angeles and set up over at Tom Ruger's house because Tom was gracious enough to have us over at his house. It's a night I'll never forget. Nothing is better than having the voice of characters that you grew up with being right next to you, especially characters like Pesto, whom I loved ever since I was a kid. And when Chick, who was sitting right to my left when recording, looks at me and says, "What do you mean by that?" It just gives me goosebumps to this day. This Goodfeathers reunion was the first time that the three actors had actually been together for 20 years, I believe. And unfortunately, according to John Mariano, was also the last time they also recorded together. So it's important for many different reasons. It's a moment of celebration, first and foremost, but it also is a little sad that we will never be able to get these Goodfeathers again together all in the same room. What we're going to do is something for today's episode is something that we haven't done before. We're going to do a rerun or a repeat performance, I guess you could say, of the Goodfeathers reunion. Just because it really was, I think, just a highlight, and I'm sure for many people would say the highlight so far of this podcast. And it's really my favorite episode, I think, that we've recorded for obvious reasons for this podcast so far. So without any further ado, I'd like you to go ahead and listen to this, enjoy it again, or listen to it for the first time. I think you'll really enjoy it. But let's first, I think, would be appropriate, a moment of silence for Chick. And when we come back, before the Goodfeathers reunion, we'll actually play a sound bit that Chick sent in to us as Pesto, which was very nice of him to do. So, Chick Vennera, we will miss you.
Hi, Animaniacs podcast. This is Chick Vennera as Pesto the Pigeon. That's a mouthful. Why would you do that to someone? Why? Okay, that's it. I'm out of here.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a good feather.
All right.
If you were a good feather, you had it all. Over to my compadre, Mr. Mariano.
Yes.
Give me a nice speech for you. Something just
As far back as I can remember, is none of your damn businesses, all right? First of all, mind your own beeswax. Secondly, listen to number one. That would be, this would probably be my basic tonality. It's kind of like Jerry Lewis after sedatives. That's kind of the... I'm a bit reedy when it comes to talking in my quality of voice, you see.
You'll love Jerry and me and the caddy.
Yeah. 90 minutes of righteous. What is this, a religious picture?
Kelly, I feel bad. Kelly's like in a little box. It's like sinuensis.
I know. I'm trying to like.
It's all right.
Move
That's
her
all
around.
right. I'm in Georgia.
What's that thing? That's
All
my
right.
favorite line from Hiccup that Bob, Pesto says it was his duodendum?
Yeah, do it. Yeah,
Duodendum? Or how do you say it? Duodendum?
Something's wrong with it.
Yeah, something's wrong with his duodendum.
All right, Tom.
Hey, Squid, Bobby, Pesto are in the house. This is a great experience.
All right. It certainly is. Okay. All right. Well, before we get going, just so you know, we do a lot of editing with these shows.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
I was going to ask you about that.
if anybody says anything, if you mess up, if you want to just
So there's no swearing.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh, Lucy is so ridiculous.
So here we go. And welcome everybody to a special episode of the Animaniacast.
When the birds hit the street looking for food to eat, that's good feathers.
That's good feathers.
When I'm cooing at you and you're cooing at me, that's good feathers. Take no guff, cause they're tough, strut their stuff, no cream puffs, that's good feathers.
And welcome once again to the Animaniacast. We are the only podcast out there that's dedicated to the animated television series, Animaniacs. And here we explore this series episode by episode, talking about all the cultural references and gags that we can find, usually. Today, however, we have a incredibly special episode. I am Joey, and joining me are my co-hosts, Nathan.
that's cool.
Across the country in Georgia, we have Kelly.
Hi there.
And joining us once again is the creator of Animaniacs. Tom Ruger is back on the show. Hello, Tom.
Hey, hello, nurses. Hi.
And as far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to interview the voice actors behind the Goodfeathers. So we are excited to welcome to our show the voice of Bobby, John Mariano,
Hello, everybody.
the voice of Pesto, Chick Vennera,
Hey, how you doing?
and the voice of Squid, Maurice LaMarche.
You know, you're funny, Pesto. You're really funny.
What do you mean funny?
You're funny. Like, you make people laugh, you know?
Funny.
Yeah.
I'm funny?
Yeah.
I'll give you funny. Ow! Hey, come on,
All right. Take it easy, boys. Simmer down. Come on now.
Oh my gosh.
We're indoors.
Well, we're already getting into it. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, the feathers are already flying. Welcome, gentlemen, all to the Animaniacast. Thank you so much for being on. And how many years has it been since you guys have all been together in the same room?
It's been
Decades.
I think it's been almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Because when the show wrapped up,
We never wanted to work with each other. It's kind of like bands.
But I think we went separate ways. Did you? Go to New York?
I saw John for a while, and I saw you, but I didn't see. We never were together.
But as a unit, no, we didn't work together anymore.
Their final animated scene together was in the final episode of the Pinky and the Brain show. It was Star Warners.
Yes.
And it was recorded in '97. So we're talking 21 years.
Did that precede the movie, the direct-to-video movie?
Wacko's Wish. Wacko's Wish.
He's right. I'm wrong.
Yeah, Wacko's Wish.
See, this is where we edit.
Snip, snip.
Well,
sorry, Tom.
well,
Birdseed for brains.
well, we were lucky enough to be invited here by Tom. Invited us over to his house
We are
here.
actually in Tom's house.
Yes,
I
this is
know.
Tom's house.
Get out.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
Evening, wasn't it?
And Tom, you were fortunately, my goodness, you were right against the flames of the Woosley fire just recently.
Yeah, it was close, but so many people that we know and love, had really horrible experiences with that. So we were very lucky, and whatever you folks listening can do to help out some of the victims of the fire, please do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's talk about the Goodfeathers. Let's talk about Animaniacs. Let's talk about your experiences on the show. So, Tom, the first question goes to you.
Uh-oh.
How did these characters of the Goodfeathers come to be, and how did you remember pitching them to Steven Spielberg? What that was all about?
We ultimately did pitch them. They started out as a creation by Deanna Oliver, one of our great writers on the series, and she wanted to do something with pigeons. She had a concept called Pigeon City. Pigeons, she felt, were universally understood as sort of, pretty low on the food chain, and they get very little respect, few breaks, they get nowhere. So in our very earliest development, you can see that Pigeon City is down here, and it was going to be a little bit like Cramden's, like the Honeymooners. But Deanna took it, we really liked it, and we said, Deanna, keep going on this. And then she got she saw, once again, she saw Goodfellas, and she just said, oh my gosh, this is what we should do. And one of the first things she created in her concept was that they would really be attracted to a statue in a park of Scorsese. And we pitched that concept when we pitched the show to Steven, and that totally sold him. He said, we definitely have to do that because that's hilarious. And I think by the second or third episode, we started using the Scorsese statue.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to fall in love. But we were always too busy being tough birds, fighting to protect our territory from the sparrows, especially the statue of Martin Scorsese. No bird could perch on Scorsese's head unless he was a Goodfeather. And as long as the sparrows kept trying to take the statue, love would have to wait.
When it came to auditioning for the Goodfeathers, do you remember anything of that process? How did you come to learn about these characters, etc.?
I went in and auditioned, I think, when I was over at Sutton Barth and Benari, which was the agency, and I auditioned in there. And I had no idea what the character was all about, and I just did what was on the sides in front of me, and that was it.
And you have a very, I noticed that your natural speaking voice is, it's square.
Yeah, I never made, these guys are the ones that really do great voices. I just did myself.
Your voice, your voice though, Chick, is just so, I love it. It's fantastic.
What do you mean fantastic?
Nothing. And Maurice, what about you?
Well, I mean, I was very much, into impressions. Still am. I love to do, whatever new voices come along. But I was told, this is a parody of Goodfellas, and I had just had. I won't say dinner with, but our tables were side by side. I was at a restaurant in the Valley about a month before, a place called Mistral, and Ray Liotta and a gal he was dating, who I think might have gone on to become either a serious girlfriend or he might have even married her, but they were on their second date, and they were kind enough to wait till the end of the meal to light up their cigarettes. And Ray Liotta leaned into me and said, "Excuse me, are you guys done? Do you mind if we light up?" That was back in the days when you could smoke in a restaurant. And I was like, "Sure, of course." My wife and I were like, "Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, big fan, blah, blah, blah." And so we ended up pushing our tables together and having dessert together. So I always feel like if I know somebody personally or I get in the same room with them, I get sort of a 3D sense of what their voice print is, much more so than just through the tube. So I think, having that implanted in there, and then when they said, "You got to do Ray Liotta," I was like, "Oh, I just had dessert with him a couple of weeks ago." So I went in there and just kind of drew Ray's voice out of me, and it ended up being funny enough for the show, I guess.
I think Ray Liotta just had a commercial recently talking about quitting smoking.
Right, yeah, right, exactly.
I won't name the sponsor, but
Right.
I don't want to give a free commercial. But I know the commercial you're
Right,
talking about.
exactly, yeah.
And John?
Yes, present.
Sure.
Chick and I actually were with the same agency at that time. We were both with the same agency, so that's where I got the information from. But at that time, I was like the go-to guy for doing De Niro because at that time, back in the old days, that wasn't much of an impression for many people. I did it in my act when I was doing stand-up, so that was a signature piece in my stand-up act. And then when I was over at the Growlings with Deanna, I did a bit called De Niro Sings the Supremes. So, yeah, baby, baby, where did our love go? So that was kind of the impetus and the genesis for that. So I mean, I was like, I think this is not much of a stretch for me. So, I think I could at least have a shot at it, if anything. So that's where it originally started. But then I had to go through the process like everybody else, and there were I don't know how many dozens, hundreds of other De Niros, but they couldn't make the face. That's the difference. That's the acid test.
That is very true.
So,
And to just clear something up, because I get a lot of people thinking that I was the Godpigeon because I do the Brando thing in Zootopia, but Chick, it was Chick that was his brilliant old Italian guy. He's the Godpigeon.
they bumpy. Yeah, what he says is mind your own beeswax. Yeah, that's true.
Chick Vennera is the God. Chick Vennera is
Was,
the
is, and will always
Godpigeon.
be.
Yeah, I that was one of the questions I had because so often I think online it says like Maurice LaMarche and it's just an uncredited Godpigeon or something like
It was
that.
never me. Never once.
Wow.
Never
It
was.
was always Chick Vennera.
I think we heard that once in Pigeon on the Roof, where Squid got to sing if I were the Godpigeon, and then Squid did an impression of the Godpigeon at that one point. And I thought,
Pigeon on the Roof was the one I sang.
yes. And I said, oh no, I'm sorry, not Squid, Pesto. What was I saying? But when Pesto did that impression, I was like, oh my gosh, it's a really good impression. I wonder how that is. There we go.
Uncanny. Like, what? He sounds just like himself doing.
I wish I was the Godpigeon. If I were the Godpigeon, cooey, 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 fettuccine, cream sauce, parmesan. All the time I'd... If I were the Godpigeon, bada-bing! Birds would kiss my toesies, schmooey, 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 mustacholi, Vito Corleone. Lord showed them I wasn't born to lose. Make me boss of all them pidgey poos. I'd make offers no one can refuse. If I were the Godpigeon, yeah!
Yeah, so this one's to Tom.
Uh-oh.
And this is right after. So, what was it about these guys in this room and their portrayal that got them the parts? So,
Well, there was a cash payout. I recall that.
yeah, how much did they pay you?
Well, come on. There are certain things that have to just be left in the past. these three characters that are sitting here, again, lots of auditions for lots of the parts in the show. These were truly, this was the segment that was the easiest one to cast. I mean, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, they're actually, we hemmed and hawed on a few things. But the Goodfeathers, I mean, Chick came in and just killed with Pesto. I mean, he made everybody just laugh. And whether it sounds like Joe Pesci or not, it's Chick just doing just an over-the-top crazy bird performance. So, and then we have John, who really does this beautiful, beautiful impression of De Niro. And so we had those two characters done. And then Mo, he really brings his artistry to it, because Ray Liotta is a little bit more subtle than maybe Pesci and De Niro. And he's not blowing up, and he's not doing the big laugh that De Niro does.
I remember thinking, will this play? Is it too understated? Because you guys kept telling me to take it down, take it down, take it down.
And he, obviously it worked beautifully. The trio, I mean, it's a great trio, because you have Bobby, who's like trying to be the voice of reason, but he's kind of, he's a thug. And Pesto cannot control his emotions. He's just he's whacking on Squid, and but Bobby and he have a good relationship, and poor Squid is the new guy on the block. So and he falls in love and is sort of like the guy that gets beaten up a lot.
They're like the Three Stooges with feathers.
Hey, go you!
Yeah, run, pussycat.
Mess with us, will you? Cool off. Cat don't know cool about what he's messing with.
Yeah, I hear that.
Hey, Goodfeathers. How you doing, Bobby? Hiya, Pesto.
Well, look what we got over here.
What's with you?
Well, I'd like to become a Goodfeather.
You? A good fella? Get him out of my face.
Right.
I'm going to ask the gentleman, you have any particular memories of working with Steven Spielberg?
Shocked that Kelly asked that question.
I saw that in the notes. I wondered which one would ask that.
Actually, did he ever come on set?
I don't think he ever came to a session, but we did have a couple of chances to meet him, and that
we
was
met him at a
fun.
party.
We met him at the party.
They took out the entire Warner Brothers backlot, all the street scenes. I mean, and we had this huge celebration at the end of the first season, and Steven could not have been nicer. He has this unique quality of just making you feel like you're the most special person in the room, and
Next to
totally,
him.
yeah,
Next to him.
yeah, next to him. But he totally. I mean, there were two parties, 2 years apart, and I remember the second party, Steven picked up the conversation with the last thing we talked about at the first party. And I just thought, what an incredible quality that is, to be that directed and focused on another person, And so it was great. He was so generous to us. Yes. And we're standing there smoking cigars outside.
Oh, yeah.
We were all three cigar smokers in those days. Two of us have quit for sure.
Well, I plead the fifth. He said something to me. I mean, I was floored when he said it. First of all, the fact that he was talking to me, I was kind of like a dog. But he said how much he loved the cartoon. And then he said, I was with Marty the other night. I was like, oh, really? And he said I was showing these cartoons to him, and he was on the floor dying laughing. So I was quite taken with that. Obviously, it's like, by liaison, I was sort of met Martin Scorsese.
Yes. Well, Tom, I think you said on a previous talk with us that he had mentioned about Martin Scorsese really loving the song, I think, right? From West Side Pigeons.
Yeah. we want to sit on Scorsese's head. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
when I say
Scorsese's head.
Scorsese's head.
We rule the roost.
We want to stay here on the rooftop.
We don't.
We'd like to perch on Scorsese's head. Why can't we perch on Scorsese's head? Goodfeathers perch on Scorsese's head. Sparrow should perch on Scorsese's head.
On the rooftop we get lots of sunshine.
No one to perch on a clothesline.
Up here we have a bird's eye view.
Humans drop food by the statue.
We'd like to perch on Scorsese's head.
Why can't we perch on Scorsese's head? Goodfeathers perch on Scorsese's head. We're gonna perch on Scorsese's head.
Yeah, but we're singing it. We're singing it to the actual.
Scorsese. Remember?
Remember, we're singing to the tune of-
He's directing West Side Story now.
Yeah.
So you see,
It all comes
we
full
motivated
circle.
him.
Producing it, John.
What?
Is he directing it or producing it?
I think it's both.
Directing.
Kelly knows these
Thanks,
things.
Kelly.
Well, he's definitely directing, so I'm sure he's got a hand in producing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that if it weren't for Animaniacs, and specifically West Side Pigeons, and specifically the gentleman in this room, right? I mean, Spielberg would not have a new movie to make, right?
I think that's a fair assessment, right? Wouldn't you say that?
He'd be out of ideas.
I think we really motivated him to.
So we
really
need to
off
get some
this.
residual checks going on, I believe,
Well,
as well.
that's a horse of a different color.
The first time I met him, I had done a film called Yanks, and I was at a party at John Schlesinger's house, the director, and he came over and congratulated me, and he was with Amy Irving at the time, and we said hello, and that was it. When I saw him that night at the party, I said, I met you at Yanks. He said, you did Yanks? Totally forgot me. But it was really nice to me about the pigeon, and he sent me a real nice cell.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get that like with a photo, like a cartoon of him and your character?
And the Godpigeon.
And
nice.
autographed, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
wow.
amazing. It still hangs on my wall.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely do.
I didn't get one.
Well,
You didn't.
You got a brain.
I got a
on
brain.
that.
I got the brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, my friends.
Well, Tom, was there any worry, I guess, when you were going through this idea of, Goodfeathers and this connection to Goodfellas? Was there any worry that, I don't know, kids would not get this or, really get it? Because, like, Goodfellas, I know I am myself, and Nathan just saw Goodfellas recently.
Yeah, for the first time, like a month ago.
Well, it was a restricted movie.
Yeah.
Was there any worry that we're doing this kind of parody of Goodfellas, but are kids really going to get it?
Well, whoever got the parody got it, and that was great. But I mean, here's a cartoon show, and these are 3 talking animals. Kids love talking animals in cartoon shows. It always works out. And I don't think any of the franchises in the whole series really were pandering to kids. I mean, we were just doing what we thought was really funny stuff, and it just happened that all the characters were kind of talking animals. So we knew we could get the kids with that, and then it was just a matter of making sure everybody working on it was trying to be funny and make it clever, and so we weren't worried that they wouldn't get the parody of Goodfeathers, because we knew they wouldn't. But they weren't getting parodies. We did Heart of Darkness, for gosh sakes. And we did some really out there parodies, and some of the brain's plots required a lot of knowledge of things that the kids, they're not going to know about it. Yeah.
No, good characters are good characters, and these 3 characters were hilarious together. So you don't need to have seen, I don't think, Goodfellas. In fact, I can't tell you. I mean, I do the con circuit a lot. The fan convention circuit. How many people? I would say young people. To me, they're young. They're 30 plus. They come up to me and they say, I started with Goodfeathers, and then I finally discovered Goodfellas. What a brilliant movie it was. But I started with you, and that made me curious about the movie. Or Welles. They discover Orson Welles because of having watched Pinky and the Brain, and then they see something from Wells, they go, that sounds like the Brain. And, it's like we're reverse engineering film appreciation in these young people by doing these great parodies.
That's exactly right, reverse engineering. There are people that really, the cultural reference that, is Goodfellas, for a lot of kids, comes through Goodfeathers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of my students, because I teach now, they all told me when they found out I had done Goodfeathers, it was like that was one of their favorite things they watched. They'd come home right from school, watch Animaniacs. It was like one of their big things.
Yeah. I will say that Goodfeathers as well. I grew an appreciation for me as the years went by. I think it's just as seeing like those three characters work off of each other. So because you know, at the very basic level, you have the slapped stick level, right? And then you start hearing again, and you start seeing like, oh my gosh, all the things that Pesto's saying right now. You know, the just the nonsense Italian, like just random Italian words, like usually pasta, you know, or
linguinis and
piazzadora, and all this kind of stuff.
And yeah, just the way he misinterprets whatever the homonyms are. Some creative homonyms for sure.
Bada bing?
No, the other one. The indendum.
Oh, duidendum.
Duidendum.
But that's an actual word. That's an actual word. Call it the anatomy.
Duidendum.
Duidendum is the way you say it.
I see the problem. His duodenum's all spastical.
Yeah, that duodenum's out of whack.
What the coo's a duodenum?
The duodenum, bird brain, is that dangly down thing you got connected to your diaphragm, which operates your lung compression.
Yeah.
Well, these cartoons are just like Looney Tunes. I mean, when I grew up watching Looney Tunes, that was the reverse engineering for me because I learned about classical music. Sure. I learned about other celebrities that they parodied of the time in the 30s and 40s. That was my window to education. Yeah. And I feel it's the same way with Animaniacs. I mean, there's so much. It doesn't just play to a certain level. Adults can get stuff. Kids can get stuff. You know, and it like Maurice was saying, it's like it just motivates you to go like, well, where did that come from originally? Or there's something that's similar to this. Yeah.
I know that, you know, that's one of the things about our podcast is that we decided to do in the first place was those references and really getting exploration of, oh, okay, so this is referencing the Honeymooners or Beanie and Cecil or things like that are, but then you learn about them, and that's just like you were saying, John, with something like Looney Tunes. I myself would watch those as a kid, and then I'm seeing stuff about like victory gardens and all these things, and I'm like, what is a victory garden?
Exactly. It's a great education.
And what is this all about? And then, you know, before I know, I'm learning about World War II and all these things like that. So
I watched one today, which I love. It's called To the Dump. And Pesto gets caught in the plastic rings that would be around a 6-pack of soda or beer back in the early 90s. Now, these plastic rings really were a blight on our environment, and they did get wrapped around a lot of animals, wild animals, birds. So, and they don't exist, they don't make them anymore, these plastic rings. So I think maybe someone watching it today said, well, what are those things? But anyway, it's a hilarious cartoon, and Pesto gets wrapped in these plastic rings, and Bobby and Squid do everything they can to unhinge him from it, and that's where that line comes from, by the way. Where
this line here?
Yeah, where.
Let me see. Let me put on my specs.
I think it's from that one. That's from Hiccup, actually.
Oh, that's from Hiccup, right?
Yeah.
You give me one more iota of aggravation, I'm going to peck open your brain box and let it all air out. It's very Shakespearean.
Very Shakespearean.
That episode actually got me. I felt so horrible for Pesto that from that day forward, I snipped every time we bought a 6-pack of Diet Coke or whatever. I would hand snip each one to make sure it was.
And that's what you had to do. Yeah, because they had a lot of little crevices that you could.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, there's Gatorade has those.
They still use them.
Yeah, and I snip.
Yeah.
It became a snipper.
Because you remember what it was like to be trapped in it.
Well,
he's a method actor.
See that?
Very
and a little
method.
snipper.
Yo, Pesto, when you get stuck good.
What exactly do you mean by that?
What? I mean, you're really stuck, you know.
No, I do not know. You tell me. You mean I'm like an old piece of gum? Is that what you mean? I'm like something stuck under a chair, here to disgust you? Is that what you mean?
Get out of here. I just mean you're stuck, that's all.
That's it!
Hey, Pesto! What are you, a maniac? Whoa! Pesto!
Good. This is good. Now we're all stuck.
Bobby, I'm sorry, but Squint was busting my beak.
Chick Vennera.
That just shows you, though, I mean, how a great example of what the show did well is when it wanted to teach the kids something, whether it was a cultural reference or like an environmental message, it doesn't knock you over the head with, hey, kids, make sure you snip these or anything. This is affecting the environment. But, hey, here's your favorite characters in this situation right here.
That's we're educated through humor.
Yeah. All right, here's a question. First appearance of the Goodfeathers in the series. Anybody want to take a stab at that one? First appearance.
Well,
you mean the date?
Well, no. Like, which cartoon was the first time that the Goodfeathers actually appeared?
It was the one we were trying to get the bagel, wasn't it?
That's called Goodfeathers: The Beginning.
Yeah,
but they appeared earlier. What?
I was thinking Goodnight Moon, but
I think even before that, it was the monkey song.
The monkey song, that's it.
These guys watch a lot of cartoons.
That's the first episode, so.
The first half hour, Pesto is beating on Squid because Squid's playing a flute in this opening musical number for the series, and he keeps poking you in the eye, and you just beat the living crap out of him. It's hilarious. and Bobby's like, whoa, Pesto, chill,
So that without a full episode to introduce them, the viewers actually got this little snippet of them first as part of this.
That's right. They were in episode 1, and then they were in episode 4, I believe. Was Thursday of the first week was when we saw Goodfeathers: The Beginning.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
Wednesday or Thursday.
Don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
Yes, sir, brother! Hey! That's it! Oh, what do you think you're working with that? Come on, those are my tail feathers.
I'll give you one of those.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid watching that and just kind of I really like the way that first episode is structured because it does give you those little glimpses and a little glimpse of what the personalities were of each of those characters, not telling you much, but just saying like, okay, here's Pinky and the Brain. This is the kind of thing they're going to be doing in this show, and here's the pigeons, and they're going to be fighting a lot.
Well, Pesto in every one of the best of their episodes, Pesto is, getting some insult from. He feels insulted by Squid. Something
that Squid has said as a compliment.
Yes. Unintentional. Unintentionally insulted.
So you're a doc. You're helping me. You're like a real doc. You're calling me doc, and then he goes into a whole like anti-seven dwarf thing.
Pastizio. The Heim-Hickuplik maneuver works every time.
Thanks, Doc.
Doc? What's that supposed to mean?
I just said thanks, Doc.
Doc? What? Are you saying I'm one of those 7 ugly dwarves? Is that what you're saying? That I am some kind of short, white-bearded alphanet here to whistle while I work for you? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that.
I am a doc.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's it!
So I have a question about the recording, basically. So what was that like? Were you able to do any improvisations? And if so, like, were any of those ever kept in the show? I guess too.
The writing was pretty solid.
Yeah, I think the only place we were told to just go a little wild is in the cloud fight. The fight cloud. We could say whatever we wanted in there as long as we didn't, do an actual swear. And so
they had to watch it in Italian too.
Yeah, right. So. That the three of us would kind of get together, and I had the easy job. I just had to be being beaten. So it's a fake Italian. Hey, leave him alone. That type of thing. That was stuff we were allowed to go crazy on.
We were given a little creative license, in certain areas. I mean, like you said, the writing was flawless, obviously, but those little character touches. We were given, the opportunity to come up with stuff, and that, specifically, it was when the fight sequences happened. I don't know if the Bada Bing was originally written or if it was something that just came out, because I remember we were doing that.
Yeah. Well, the writers were there when you guys were recording, and whenever you guys threw in something that like the Bada Bing, we're using that next week.
That's right, yeah. Because there was a lot of in between, like now, it's like in between scenes or in between going to the next recording, we'd just be banging it back and forth over here. So and sometimes stuff would come out and I could tell, I could look through the glass. I knew that we were in the right pocket. Well, not that, but more so when I saw you laughing. When he started laughing, I was like, okay, we're in a good place. I felt good because when I see him like doubling over with laughter, I said, okay, we're in the right. I'm
positive it was the greatest job ever because I could sit there and listen to you guys and just laugh. And I mean, what a job! You're getting paid to sit there and laugh. Oh my God!
Well, yeah, but you're also getting paid to come up with the stuff, to create these characters out of thin air, to write these brilliant lines, come up with these great stories. So that's the payoff.
Yeah, it was a beautiful.
We were all very lucky to be there. We knew we were part of something extremely special.
There wouldn't be any horses if there was a cart. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now Deanna Oliver wrote that very first one we were talking about, Chick, the Goodfeathers at the beginning, and Greg Reyna directed it. And I noticed Greg Reyna directed a great number of the best of the Goodfeathers. So I just want to make sure I give a shout out to Greg. And in that very first episode, the rare animated background, 2 major shots. The first shot that reveals Squid and Pesto and Bobby coming down the street, walking, and the background and the streets are animating behind them.
Yeah.
Really painfully expensive. So, and then there's a even more elaborate shot of them going down the subway steps into the darkness and into the subway. It was like 30 seconds of animating backgrounds. I mean, just a
feature
fortune.
film quality.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what we were thinking. Oh my God.
That's why Squid's mouth never moved from that big smile. You had to save money somewhere. You didn't have to animate any lip flaps.
What are some traits that you appreciate about your characters, and do you have anything in common with them?
I'm a moron like Squid is a moron.
I've been known to lose my temper.
Never in front of us.
You should have heard me driving over here if you want to hear about losing temper.
Oh, in the car with traffic, I go nuts.
Oh, God.
Gosh, you know what? I like to think of myself as somewhat, hip, being a former stand-up comic, but I still have a tremendous amount of naivete about a bunch of things in life, and that's where I think I cross paths with Squid, because he's a tremendously naive character, very good-natured, but I mean, he just doesn't have a clue. Well-intentioned, but a little bit on the clueless side. And I think I could be described that way myself.
I saw him as an innocent.
Yeah.
Well, he was new to the game.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing. I mean, even based on the original film, he was being introduced into a lifestyle, and we were there before him. I don't know if I can relate to anything. I mean, obviously, as my character, I would love to be that kind of leader type. I don't necessarily see myself as that, but I would aspire to. I do recognize that, he had a sort of a rational and logical approach to things, even though it was, pigeon-brained. But so that's something I could relate to. And then I guess more so it was about the relationship of the friends, because that's the other thing too. I think a lot of the characters and all of the Animaniacs, it was all about relationships, and we had like a really good relationship. Yeah. Even though we were a dysfunctional family of sorts, we still loved each other, we still stayed together, and we still saw it through to the end.
That's true. Each episode does not end with them hating each other or anything like that.
There's no I'll talk to you in 20 years. Yeah. Except for the actors.
Well, I see you a lot more. I bump into you in life all the time.
Yeah,
I totally lost touch with Chick.
I stopped smoking cigars.
That's right. There you go. And that's what we see each other, cigar smokers. And then one day I'm visiting the set of Criminal Minds, because I'm good friends with the guy who was their location manager, and I'm talking to the director of the episode, and he says, "So what do you do?" And I do animated cartoons. And he goes, "Oh, I have a very good friend who was on a show called Animaniacs. Do you know Chick Vennera? Chick Vennera? Are you kidding me?" And at that point, it was like, I think 16 years since I talked to you.
Yeah.
So he calls you up on his cell phone and puts me on, and we had a little reunion there. And I forgot to get your number from him.
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I forgot to get your number from him because they were here. They were about to do this big shot where, the Criminal Minds gang bursts into an apartment. And I was like, oh, I better stand back. But it was such a nice little 5-minute reunion on the phone. And then I totally lost touch with you again. And you and I share a very dear friend.
Yes, we
Billy
do.
Gardell is a dear friend of both of ours. So,
Well, we share, a couple of friends, but definitely Billy. And we've crossed paths because we just worked recently on a
Pinocchio feature film.
Yeah, so we did that recently. So, we do every once in a while. It's a big community and it's a small community all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But I get Mariano updates from Billy. Oh, yeah, that's John. I love him. John is great. He's the greatest guy. I love that guy.
Oh, gosh. I'm his Norton to his Ralph.
Right, exactly.
Really.
I have a question. I want to hear a little bit about Chick's teaching. Because you've been
Teaching for 20 years.
Teaching for 20 years. Can you fill us in a little?
I started at the Beverly Hills Playhouse, and then I left the Beverly Hills Playhouse and started the Renegade Theater and Film Group. And then I've been teaching ever since. And I'm coming close to maybe calling it a day.
Come on. You're a kid.
But I had fun, and I still have fun, and I enjoy doing it. And I do private sessions as well, and it's been fun.
And you get hired to help actors in productions, like on TV shows or movies, or like maybe an actor is being challenged by the material or something, and they just
sometimes they haven't been trained, or sometimes they're kind of lost, or sometimes they get intimidated by what's going on. And so instead of firing them because they've probably already been in the can, you got to go in there and work with them. And it's just a question of just instilling that confidence and letting them know where it's got to be, and then letting them see. But one of the things I found out is that I've introduced the camera into my classes. So what happens is they'll do something, and I'll say, now look at what you did there. That's filler. That's a false move. You got to fix that. So let's try this again. And they get to see it. So you never hear anything, well, I didn't do that. And I said, well, there it is. The camera doesn't lie. So by introducing that, it's helped me a lot. And I've enjoyed doing it a lot. And I introduced it to I taught in Australia, first in Sydney and then in Adelaide. And then I've been doing private sessions with different people. And then I like it when the studios hire you because that gets to be a lot of fun. So I've had it's been good. It's
Excellent.
Been really good.
Wow. Yeah. All right. So if someone wanted to get your expertise, learn from you, how would they go about
go on the
contact?
Internet. Just go on the internet.
Chick Vennera.
ChickVennera.com, or you can go to RTGLA.com, Renegade Theater, Los Angeles.
What is internet?
Very good.
That's how I got in, in contact with Chick. I checked that. I found his website.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the musical episodes of Goodfeathers. Many consider West Side Pigeons to be one of the best cartoons in Animaniacs. Hands down. It comes like when many people's top 5 of cartoons, West Side Pigeons is very often on that list. What were your memories of working on West Side Pigeons? I guess Tom. We should probably start with Tom. Tom.
Well, it was probably a longer than normal session, I would suspect.
Oh, that was. Yeah.
It was probably like a full day rather than an afternoon, maybe, or it was 4 hours. Maybe.
My primary thought was I'm about to get found out, and fired because.
Well, that's I think we can all share that.
Because I'm really not a singer, and especially having to sing in Squid's register. Was a little tough for me, but I have no training.
Is that the Carluta one?
Carluta. Yeah.
Hello down there, Squid.
Carluta, meet me at the Scorsese statue around 10:43. Why wait? We'll migrate tonight.
Okay.
Oh, Carluta.
Carluta, I just met a bird named Carluta. And please don't think me rude, but I think I'd like to brood with Carluta. Carluta, Carluta, Carluta.
I gotta cut down on my coloratura.
I just
met her.
And of course, these parodies are also tough because you're just so drawn to the piece that it's parodying.
Right.
So you have to put the original song out of your brain completely and only go with the notes as written, which Richard Stone, God rest his soul, was brilliant at. Brilliant parodist. And, because he retained the flavor and the soul of the original material, but be different enough that we not get sued.
And Julie Steve Bernstein
Bernstein as well, yes.
Yeah.
So, but I know my tendency to go flat, so it was a little terrifying for me too.
I know one of,
and we weren't auto-tuning in those days, so it was, it was many takes.
Kelly, I know one of your favorite songs from that is sung by Maurice, right?
I feel feathery.
Oh,
that's so funny.
That's great.
I can't remember how the tune, but yes, definitely. I feel feathery. I feel so feathery, and something, and yep. Thanks so much.
There's no bird in the city like Carluta. Around her, I feel feathery, oh so feathery. All my plumage is standing up tall. I'm no peacock, but it doesn't bother me at all. Who's that handsome squab in the mirror there?
What squab? Where? Who?
Who can that attractive bird be?
Which one? Where? Who? Jerk quack. Claw cluck. Chirp tweet. Crow crow.
Me. I feel feathery, oh so feathery. Like a fledgling, a soft downy dove. Oh, this pigeon, handsome pigeons all puffed up with love.
This concludes the musical portion of Maurice LaMarche's life. Forever.
By the way, this came about. Deanna Oliver, who wrote some great musicals for the series. She had just finished Les Miserables, and which we thought was incredible. And I said, "How many times did you listen to the track? Listen to the show of Les Mis, and how many times you go to the show?" Never. She just kind of looked at the lyrics of the originals and kind of modified them to work for Les Mis. So she's really brilliant.
She's beyond brilliant.
She's incredible. So so we said, okay, you're now officially the full half-hour musical person here. So what's next? And she said, West Side Pigeon. She had that.
Was she the one involved in Pigeon on the Roof too?
Yes, she wrote that one too. Pigeon on the Roof. That's a beautiful episode. Yeah.
That was cool.
As far back as I can remember, the Goodfeathers had the best perch in the neighborhood because we perched on the statue of the greatest filmmaker in the world, Scorsese.
Scorsese, 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 Scorsese.
Without the statue of Scorsese, our lives would be as slippery as a pigeon on the roof.
But the Bernsteins, Julie and Steve, I think Julie would come in. Andrea Romano was our voice director, but on the more elaborate song shows, Julie Bernstein would come in and kind of help the singers.
I couldn't have gotten through it without Julie.
Yeah.
First of all, Julie worked with me note by note. And she knew to give me a vocal track, or to give me a practice track that was purely just the melody. Because the minute you put any flourish in there, any harmony behind it, I'm lost. Yeah. I don't know which note to sing. Yeah. So it's almost like one finger singing, one finger melody on the piano. Yeah. That's what I needed, because I don't know where to find the melody. I'll sing anything. So she was tremendous and so patient with me, and she got me to relax, and she would just sit there with the piano in the studio and just get me to do it right, no matter how many takes it took.
They were so quick.
I learned so much.
They were so quick. I remember when we were doing Pigeon on the Roof, and I was supposed to sing that, if I were the Godpigeon.
Oh, yeah.
And first they gave it to me, and I looked at him, and I said, "You've got this in C. Can you put it in F? Because that's my key." And he Immediately transposed the thing and bang, we just kicked it out.
Bam. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's Tom Madek, I think, at the recording session. Is that right? Or was that the music guy? Did you?
The music guy.
Oh, that was Steve. Yeah.
There were the two that used to come in all the time.
Yeah, Steve and Julie and Richard. Yep. So they could do it right there, huh?
It was just
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering. There's a question regarding Pigeon on the Roof. The ending of it, isn't there like there's a whole like stage production, right? And we thought there was similar to like West Side Pigeons for some reason.
It seems
it was like tagged onto the end of the Fiddler on the Roof, and it's where Pesto complains to Bobby about the cartoon not making sense.
Oh, I love that.
And when were there? I guess was this like a cut scene from the West Side, or was it always intended for Fiddler? I guess.
Would someone please explain what that was all about? That had to be the most confusing, mixed-up, cockamamie script I've ever read in my entire freaking life. Fazoo!
Hey, oh! Ooh, Pesto! Oh! Cool down, bird! Bird, crazy bird. Stay cool, bird. Beak it, buzz it, easy does it. Turn off the juice, bird. Go, bird, go, but not like a dodo. Cool bird. Play it cool, bird. Real cool.
Cool. Go, bird, go. But not like a dodo. Yeah, play it cool, bird. Real cool.
So yeah, that's a song from West Side.
Yeah, West
cool.
Side Pigeon.
And it's just like, so it's like, was that intended to?
Yeah,
it was just kind of like a nice homage to West Side Pigeons, but it was almost like, what is it doing with the Fiddler on the Roof?
Do you have any memory of that, Tom? Because it's a really cool song. It just seems like a little.
We cut it. For time.
Which
cut
one?
it from
This
the
one?
from the earlier cartoon,
and then used it as.
We knew we had it.
Right.
So it was like a minute of cartoon that you don't want to burn that. And so we were able to repurpose it.
Now, did that happen with any other clips at all, with the Goodfeathers, or even just Animaniacs in general? Like, was there? I'm assuming there wasn't much stuff that was cut because it's just so expensive to actually animate something completely.
Yeah, we have little trims here and there, but not major sections. I think we might have. I don't know if we got censored much, so really not much. Yeah.
Is there stuff in a drawer somewhere you wish we'd done?
Oh, you mean like scripts and stories?
Stories, jokes that had to be
cut. Oh
cut.
yeah, I got some boxes.
Yeah, boxes. That's marvelous.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I have right here. I have some. We don't have time probably today, but we could. I have some Goodfeather premises here that didn't quite get finished.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, that's a great,
fascinating
Goodfeather material. I've got the original sort of Bible-written stuff on Pigeon City. The original characters' names were Shock, Zeet, and Gary.
Gary.
Shock,
Zeet, and Gary.
Okay.
And
I guess I'm the Gary.
That didn't. You were Gary. It didn't last long that way, but Got the Goodfeathers share breadcrumbs for the holidays.
Oh my God.
That would be great.
Yeah,
The pigeon, I'll read you this one, okay? The pigeons don't believe in Santa Claus. They're tough guys, and they think that Christmas is a holiday for bleeding hearts and saps. Then a kind old man gives them some food as they're freezing out in the cold, and it infuses them with the Christmas spirit. In the end, as they're flying over the city, they look up to see the old man sailing away in a sleigh pulled by reindeer.
Oh man,
That would have been beautiful. Even Pesto would have been crying.
I'm squirting over here. Definitely, that would have been a great episode. I love holiday episodes for any cartoon or sitcom or anything else. I'm just a sucker for that.
Well, Animaniacs did it. I think Animaniacs and of course the Pinky and the Brain Christmas special. I think fantastic, examples of how to get some holiday, things right. Well, I think if we have some time, we might want to actually have some questions directly towards the Goodfeathers themselves, if they're available. That is.
Well, should we talk to their agents?
Can they fly in? I don't know. We can get. I think we might be able to find some birdseed in one of the cabinets, perhaps. I don't know, but but if you guys don't mind, we have some questions here. For example, Pesto. Pesto, why are you so angry all the time? And maybe have you considered anger management?
Why?
No, I'm just wondering.
Why?
No, I'm not.
You're not what?
What? Okay, no.
What?
Okay, nothing. I take it back. I mean, you're very even-tempered.
See, you got on his wrong side. The only problem is he doesn't have any right sides.
Bobby, you're often the moderator between Squid and Pesto and the translator for the Godpigeon. How did you obtain this important role in your organization?
Excuse me, what do you mean by that? I mean, what are you trying to say? You trying to insinuate something? Because I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say. But if you want me to ask you directly, what was the question again?
Bobby, you're often the moderator between Squid and Pesto and
That's
the
true.
translator for the Godpigeon.
Yes.
How did you obtain this important role?
Well, it's a height requirement. Well, I guess basically because I'm the most logical, rational, one in the whole group. And if they don't listen to me, I'm going to smack them right in the mouth.
So, Squid, it just seems like you're always so nice and calm. Does anything ever get you upset?
Questions like that. They really piss me off.
Oh, way to go,
God,
Nathan.
I'm sorry. We are just striking out here.
Well,
I just keep this smile on my face, just trying to keep from being beat by Pesto. I just figure if I just keep smiling, it'll be okay.
Yeah, but he doesn't know any better. He's young. He'll
I'm
learn.
the new guy.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Well, and finally to the Godpigeon.
What?
Thank you for being here, sir.
What he's trying to say is it's indeed an honor to be with yous.
Oh.
And he hopes that your firstborn is a very manly child. And that he doesn't use too much diapers. Sometimes they can get out of hand. Yeah, gesundheit.
My goodness, I haven't even got to the question yet. Well, sir, do you have any leadership tips for anyone out there who is aspiring to be a metaphorical Godpigeon themselves?
Eat your spinach and wear loose underwear.
Very good.
Yeah. Are you still with the Goodfeathers, and how have they been?
She's my girl, Kiki.
Okay.
Yeah, mine wised up a long time ago and married a doctor.
Married a doctor.
You know, sometimes birds, they fly the coop.
Oh.
So, I'm traveling solo for the moment, but I'm looking for something to drop on.
I have a question too. So, what was it like working with Tom Ruger? Being birds and.
It was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah.
Seriously. And we're not saying this
Presence
because
of
we're in his
genius.
house.
Truly.
Pretty damn cool.
Yeah. It was literally one of the best experiences of a career. You know, he's a great guy. He really is. He's a great guy. He gave us a lot of license to do what we were able to do. I mean, he gave us great material to work with. I mean, the team itself is like, there wouldn't be no us if it wasn't for them, So,
I had fun every episode.
yeah, like you said, we showed up at work and we got to laugh. And like I said, one of the best things is that when I could look through the recording booth window and see him doubling up with laughter, I was happy. I was like, okay, this is a good day. So.
But between takes, these two would say stuff that was just hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would come out of their mouths sometimes, and in different voices.
Mm.
Well, These things happen.
Yes, always, my friend. Yes, yes.
You know, I don't know why this may get cut out, but there is in a vault somewhere at Warner Brothers a copy of the Goodfeathers that is not necessarily PG-13. It's more like R or X, but I may be have spoken out of turn, but there is a reel.
I still have those tracks somewhere.
Do you?
I would love to hear those.
Yeah, so would I. I've never heard it since the first recording.
I've heard Pinky and the Brain going a little blue. That one I've seen recently.
Yeah.
And I gotta find the pigeon one. Yeah, I gotta find that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time. We have a very special presentation for you guys. I reached out to Quantum Mechanics. They're the folks who make these fantastic recreations of characters from movies and superheroes and cartoons. And I was wondering if they would be willing to give you guys, to donate your figures, the Goodfeathers, and they happily agreed to.
What?
So we have underneath the table here, and Tom's getting it out. And yes, Tom, we do have one for you as well.
Yeah, baby.
It is the Goodfeathers figures right here, the Q-Figs.
Oh my gosh!
Oh man!
I so wanted one of these when I saw them. They were coming out. This is fantastic.
Are you kidding me?
I have the Pinky and the Brain one, but I don't have the.
They're gorgeous.
This is
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Oh my
God! If only you guys could see this. That's too bad.
This is good podcasting. It's like
This is the best Christmas present ever.
That's a gorgeous thing.
Oh my gosh! Oh my God! Thank you so much.
Well,
this
is cool.
Yeah.
Look at
There's
us, we're
that
immortalized,
animated
huh?
street background. That's the one.
I love the little scrap of paper.
Yeah.
When I first pulled it out, I went, well, what the heck's that? How'd that get in there?
That's just the trash.
It's
Yes.
great, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the attention to detail. They've only done a couple figures so far, and they did Pinky and the Brain. The second one was the Goodfeathers. So they haven't even
I'm
done.
a toy. Oh boy, I'm a toy.
All right, how much do you guys want to sign mine?
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well,
we do have.
Funny thing that you say that. QMX did request that we do have some additional ones. They did ask, could they sign some so we could send them back for charity auctions and things like that?
Of course.
So, we'll.
Although there's going to be one requirement though.
Oh, what's that one?
A pen.
Oh, we do have those.
We do need a.
It's in our contract. We don't sign anything without a pen. You know, I'm sure it's mentioned before, but you know, the other thing is that when we recorded these cartoons originally, we were all together recording them, which doesn't always happen as much anymore, if at all. Most of the time, there's a lot of Mo, am I right? It's like mostly we can't get everybody in the same room together. You don't have to. I'm just.
It's true. This is a good note to talk about.
Well, it's a.
And it's truly.
You can cut it in somewhere.
Yeah.
That. It's a style that's going out of fashion, and as an actor, I love being in studio with my fellow actors. We give each other things, and we listen to each other, and it changes the performance. I mean, acting is, as you know, listening. It's reacting. It's listening to what's being given you, and giving something to your fellow performer. And when you're alone in a studio and just staring at a microphone and a script, and a director kind of, woodenly reading you your lines, or the other character's lines that you're reacting to, it just becomes more of a challenge,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's again something that Tom Ruger and Andrea Romano were right on top of. That we always recorded together. That the shows were always, the segments were always about the relationships among the characters. And so we were always in studio together.
And I think that was another layer of what led to the success of this show, is the fact that all these talents, all of them, were in one room together and we were creating something together. So it's like a ball team, we were a well-oiled machine. It's like any play or anything else. These actors are on the boards together and they're working, episode after episode, and it becomes, there are other layers underneath from an acting standpoint where it's just, the relationships are already there. And then anything from there up is gold.
There's an exception. I will say there are a couple of directors in town that can read you, with you, and the terrific Kelly Ward, for instance, is one. I know that's another show that Tom Luger and I got to work on the 7D, the Seven Dwarfs told through a different prism, and Kelly could do all the other dwarves. So when I was in there doing Grumpy, he played everybody else, and it felt like the other actors were with me because he's such a keen ear for the voice. But for the most part, I much prefer to be in an ensemble.
Yeah, there's no question.
You got to listen.
What was that?
It forces you to listen.
And these guys are right because they'd be together week after week, and they were bringing more stuff. They were bringing more comedy. Am I too far away?
A little too far.
On your mic.
How do you know that? You just naturally. Can we start over? But these three characters, they were together week after week, and yes, we had these scripts written, but they were adding nuances and little tweaks and little extra lines here and there because they knew their characters, quite honestly, better than we did because they were really living them. And those tweaks really, really plussed, just about every episode.
Fantastic.
And I think it's what Tom said earlier, is like when we started cutting up in between takes, the mics would be on and it would fuel their brains to come up with ideas going, all right, that's staying in, or like for the next episode, let's investigate this part of the relationship.
They're always listening.
So there's, that's the beauty of just creating together. It's like, so-and-so inspires so-and-so, and then before you know it, we have this other thing.
Fantastic. Well, we cannot thank you guys enough for coming together all together. When we originally do these interviews, a lot of times we're just via Skype, and I mentioned to Chick like online, like, I'm thinking about getting you guys all together, and Chick says, it's been forever since I've seen these guys in person. I said, oh my gosh, okay.
In person, it's great.
And I'm sitting on the couch with my wife, and I said, I think Chick wants us. I don't think they've been in the same room together.
We haven't.
And
So we thank you.
Well,
and
Tom especially for
reunion.
This is this is the first.
This whole.
Well, it really is an honor and a pleasure, and again, thank you guys so much for your time and for coming over. And just from some of our listeners, I think the appreciation and just the love for these characters has grown over the years. So much that one of our listeners, in fact, on Twitter said, "I think these guys should get their own spin-off cartoon. Should be the Goodfeathers cartoon." So,
here, I second that.
I
really wish I could have been there in person. I really tried to.
Well, you're missed.
It's really expensive to fly from Atlanta to LA.
It is.
No doubt.
Well, that'll be our next time over.
It's also really hard on the arms too.
Oh, I'm telling you,
we
boy.
fly across country
It's tough.
like
Once
that.
you get past New Mexico, man, you start feeling it under your pits.
Well, I think it's going to be time to close things out. So before we do, though, I think we should get to a few additional plugs. Anything you guys you would like to promote, either online presence or just something that you're working on that you'd like to tell people about. Chick, we already talked a little bit about your website right there. It's chickvennera.com, am I correct? And people can learn about your acting classes and things like that. That's going on.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Maurice?
Follow me on Twitter at Maurice LaMarche, all one word, AMAURICELMARCHE, and on Instagram, Maurice_LaMarche. And where I have, I think, all of 10 pictures. I'm not a hot young girl. What am I going out? I don't walk along going,
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
I would look great in this t-shirt. It's like,
You're an influencer.
The Instagram thing I don't get so much. I don't know.
You just need to put on a duck face, like,
Just stay off the pole, Mo. Stay off the pole.
Yeah.
A little taffeta goes a long way.
Thank you. And the new season of Disenchantment coming up soon on Netflix.
Love that show.
Putting the finishing touches on the next 10, and word has it that Netflix wants more. So that's good. And there's other things, but I cannot talk about them.
I know. It's a funny thing. Yeah, I mean, you can get me on Twitter, I think, at John F. Mariano on Twitter. So by all means, give me a shout out there and follow me to the ends of the earth. As far as anything else, we're not allowed to say anything because these NDAs. I will say that I will have something to announce in the summer of 2019. I've just been told as of yesterday that I have permission to start to make an announcement about that. I mean, it's something small, but to me it's big. But as far as that, just like I said, follow me on Twitter, and if you want to send a message on Facebook, John Mariano. I'm out there.
And Tom?
Let's see. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't know why, but you can.
And, what's your Twitter handle?
It's at Tom Ruger.
At Tom Ruger. How's that? Is that pretty good?
Don't forget your blog, Tom.
And then there's cartoonatics.blogspot.com, I believe.
You're absolutely
And that's where you can find photos of Chick and Mo and Johnny from the Goodfeather days from the party.
From the party. We are decked out, and we are smoking cigars, which none of us do anymore. Yes, except for John Godpigeon.
All right. Nathan, what about you? Where are you online?
Joey, I'm on Twitter. DjangoFT, that's me.
And Kelly?
I'm also on Twitter at Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS.
All right. And
you're Yoda Princess.
She is Yoda Princess.
I know.
Infamous.
The infamous Yoda Princess.
I was wondering who that Yoda Princess was.
I keep blocking her.
There was a package at the door the other day that said Yoda Princess on it. I said, well, what could this be?
Well, and as for the Animaniacast, we're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and sometimes on Reddit and some other things if I have time for all that other junk, but whatever. You can also subscribe to us on your favorite podcast player, whatever that happens to be. And of course, you can check out our archives over at animaniacast.com. And we're part of the Retro Zap Podcast Network, where you can listen to all sorts of other podcasts of all pop culture needs, whether it's Star Wars or video games or movies or whatever. Retro Zap has you covered. All right. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. So now what we're going to do...
Bada bing, bada bing.
Is usually I say I'll go around the horn and we'll just say
good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. But if you want to say something different,
that's it.
What? I just said good night. That's all.
Right.
That's
it,
it,
boys. Good night, everybody.
That's it.
You. Ow, you're peeking me.
Yeah, I mean it.
Cut it out, will ya?
Goodbye.
Well, there we go.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
He says bona noches.
Perfect.
Kelly, say yours.
Good night, everybody.
Aw, Kelly.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
Bada friggin' bang over here.